Um, Nick, uh, Nick, are you cool to come up? I'm gonna invite you to speak right now.
Hey,
Here we go.
Hey,
hi, hi, Dr. Huemer.
hi, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Cool. Well, thanks a lot for speaking with me today. So I've been following your work for several years since Bryn actually introduced you to me a couple years ago. I've been a vegan for 26 years, and it's fun. Some of the time I spent as a neuroscientist, and I've really been interested in sort of problems of rationality and how it operates in the brain. I discovered one person's work about 20 years ago, but I kind of didn't accept it until maybe a few years ago. It was John McKeil's work. Are you familiar with this? He's done
No.
more, he's done work on he's done a lot of things with different trolley dilemmas, like varying the trolley dilemma in different ways.
Yeah.
He did one interesting hypothetical where he took the standard trolley dilemma and he has the track looping back onto the main track, where then
Yeah.
it strikes 5 people downstream. And he did this in order to modify the footbridge scenario where you push someone on the track, so you can still just push a lever. You put the person in the side track, and and you can basically decide to push a lever and move the lever and move the train so it goes into the side track. It strikes the person and slows the train down enough so that when it rejoins the track, it will not hit 5 people downstream. So
Right.
that's the idea. It's basically the same as pushing someone on the track. And then the variation of that is he puts a giant rock downstream of the man, but upstream to the 5 people. So when the same thing's happening, you divert the train, but now when it hits the man as a byproduct of you flipping the track. But the man didn't have to be there to stop the train because the rock was there. And so that's really the difference between, say, like a double effect. And so here we have two qualitative differences between a double, the sort of killing someone as collateral damage to doing a good act versus actually using someone as a tool to stop the train. Those are qualitative differences, but they're both bad. And yet, and it's really hard sometimes to adjudicate how something like that's exploitative could maybe be not as bad as something that is simply involves collateral damage, but is actually a well-intentioned act. Like, let's say, slapping a baby to save 1 billion babies might be better than taking your Humvee and going through a crowded park to get to the theater 5 minutes earlier, even though you're killing lots of people, but that's collateral damage. And like crop deaths might be more collateral damage, and eating meat and dairy products is more the exploitative thing. But I guess, how do you weigh these quantitative factors versus the qualitative difference between an act that is bad versus an act that is qualitatively worse, that is collateral damage, versus an exploitative act of using someone as a tool?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well.
there's a lot. Sorry, there's a huge
Yeah.
amount. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. I mean, so there's a loop version of the trolley problem, and I don't have very firm intuitions about that. Like, when I think about that, it's not totally obvious to me. I I feel like I sort of have to evaluate it using a theory, right? And so, like in the initial version where you push the guy in front of the trolley, so that seems wrong. And then the case where the guy is on the track, and like the trolley has to hit him first in order to stop and not hit the other people. I guess that sounds relevantly like pushing the person in front of the trolley. So
Yeah, those are equivalent.
um, yeah, I mean,
Because one involves physical act of pushing versus
yeah. I
but
mean,
still, yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, maybe there's a difference whether you're diverting the trolley or diverting the person, right? Diverting the trolley towards the person or diverting the person towards the trolley. Um, but I don't know. Okay, but so I guess the loop version is wrong. Um, Now, when it comes to animals, like, I don't really know if you should take a rights-based or a utilitarian approach. So, but I mean, fortunately, in most practical questions, you don't have to answer that because, like, it's pretty easy. The utilitarian calculation goes against the animal exploitation in the first place, so you don't have to resolve whether they have rights. There might be some cases where it really does matter. Like, maybe if we're like experimenting on animals and if that actually saves human lives. Not the experiments that don't save anyone, like the experiments on cosmetics, because like those fail the utilitarian test. But let's say you were actually doing experiments that would kill the animals, but they would also save human lives. Then it would matter if you're a utilitarian or a rights theorist. in those cases, like, without being sure what the right view is, I think I would sacrifice the animals. Because I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess I was just trying to see the difference between your view on actually using someone as an object, like or sacrificing an animal, using someone as a tool for some act of good versus a collateral damage side effect to a benevolent act. So
Yeah.
the two draw the loop dilemma and the other one are identical. The only difference is that you put a rock downstream of the guy on the side track who's in the loop. Because the idea is that when the rock is there, then when you divert the train, his death is collateral damage, just like in the standard trolley dilemma. It's not actually using that person as a tool the way you would in like the organ harvesting case or pushing someone onto the track. So I guess how do you weigh a bad act like using someone or a bad act like a collateral damage killing but for a good intent, like the double effect, or an actual exploitative act?
So like I guess in the case where the rock is there, turning the trolley is okay, right? I guess, although it's a little bit weird, right? Like, I mean, these variants of these examples can sort of push you towards consequentialism, right? Like, you imagine that you could divert the trolley towards the one person, and there's not a rock there, but you could put a rock there in addition. So, like, it's going to be okay to divert the trolley if you put the rock there, but not if you don't. But it could be that like putting the rock there doesn't actually accomplish anything, right? Like, the trolley will be stopped if it hits either the man or the rock. But you put the rock there to make it so that it's, a side effect rather than exploiting the person, right? And then, that could kind of seem pointless. Anyway, so they're like, there are ethical puzzles about these things. But anyway, like I guess the scenario with the rock there is it's okay to turn the trolley.
Well, it's bad, just not as bad as if you're using the guy as a tool.
Yeah.
Because you're still murdering the guy.
Yeah, he's going to be killed, but he's going to be killed as a side effect, not as a goal.
Yeah, cool. All right, great. Well, I guess I don't want to hog the screen.
Yep. Thanks.
So
Thanks
a lot. Thanks for talk to you later, or maybe not. All right. How do I get off? All right. Hey,
I'll